Alright, hello, good evening everyone. It's me, Kelvin from Round and Search. So today I'll be sharing with you guys on the sector outlook. Okay, so as you can see from the cover photo, we're gonna look into semiconductor. So why am I looking into a semiconductor? Usually I don't really share a lot about the sector outlook, but it is actually every one of us we know. If let's say we follow the trend in the market, which sectors to look into it will be a very interesting and exciting ride in the stock market, especially those of you who have tried out this kind of sector run in 2020, so you know when to actually enter. And but unfortunately in the market there's a lot of people do not know when to exit, so that's why I see a lot of investors are getting trapped in the stock market. So in particular stocks, especially like glove stocks on 2020 time. So today what I'm going to share with you guys is that how I look into it and how I find out that this might be the next possible price or the sectors that is going to move up the price. Okay, so like you see in semiconductors, uh, from what I see, a lot of people you might have say like, oh, it has already run, so there's nothing new for you to talk about it right now. So why you still continue to talk about it? The reason is because I see the price and volume that they are moving right now in the market. All these actions are doing. It seems like there are some of the big funds are coming back into these sectors to move in at the bottom. Okay, so of course maybe some of you might say like there might be a short selling to cover by the institutional investor, which is you call it the RSS, restricted short selling, okay, for certain stocks. But I've checked into it, the net short selling percentage is actually relatively quite low, right? So you can check this in Bursa website. So if you're interested to look into it, this later on, I'm going to share it out. And if you want to ask any questions throughout these sessions, leave it in the comment, then I can actually see it. So I'll reply you after I've done all the explanation of what I look into it. And then furthermore, maybe let me introduce a bit of myself to some of you who have never joined us, never know us before, but you saw this from the public. For myself, RNS, Round and Search, what we do is that we look into the price and volume. Okay, so that's why we came out our own analysis, which is the operator analysis, which is very similar to probably look into tape reading. If let's say you know about that, tape reading basically look into a transaction of those. So I've done before, I look into some of this what you call it, the technical analysis before, but I find that it's not really reliable sometimes. Okay, there's a lot of fake breakout and then causing us, when the price start to goes down, we do not know whether is it a small retrace, a short-term retrace, or really there is a reversal. So I get caught at a lot of time in the past, so like every one of you done before. Okay, so I find that it's not very reliable. So that's why I every one of us, we know that in the market is basically the big boys are playing the game. So if let's say the big boys are playing the game, so that we have to follow them. Okay, so that is the only way that we can actually make profit from the stock market, uh, instead of like gambling on it, betting whether the price is going moving up or down. So when we look into that, we don't really look into the fundamental of it, because mainly we are going for a mid-term or short-term run. Okay, and sometimes we do the intraday trading. So if you look into fundamental, that is more on like you want to buy and hold, make sure that the company is actually healthy for you to look into it. So that's why I don't look into that. I don't even read news. I don't even follow the index. Okay, because the index only consists of very small amount of stocks. So that's why we are able, if you are able to do things like us, where you can see the whole market, where all the big boys, what they are doing, so you can follow the trend, you can follow which, you know which sector to look into it, you know whether the market is going to rebound. Okay, like for example, in 2021, the first quarter, we are able to secure a profit before the market actually goes down. So because we find that there's a lot of big boys that are attracting buyers, trying to get people in, get retail investor in for them to take profits. So that's how we can secure the profit and not losing more in the bad market, in a bear market. So this is something that we need to look into it, because following big boys is not dangerous. If let's say you have nothing to follow, it's much more dangerous. It's just like betting on the betting in the stock market. Okay, so it's basically something like that. Now it's a talk of the town where Sports Toto, where they have the supreme jackpot going up to 90 million. So you're basically betting on it. Okay, so we don't want to be a gambler in the stock market. We want to be an investors. Okay, of course, we want to be a knowledgeable investor. So we need to know where are this information to look into it. Basically, we have all this information, transaction data, everything is on the trading platforms. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can leave it in the comments. Okay, and remember to give us a like and also give us a heart. Okay, and if you're new to this video, if you want to find out more about our upcoming live stream, every week we're gonna do like for US market, and yeah, our principle, the operator analysis principle, it works on US market, but just at US market currently I'm just looking at it for intraday. So every day just trade like maybe one and a half hours. So but for the live stream for US market is mainly for those of you who are new to the market or you want to venture into a new market. So what kind of things that you need to look into it? So we will go through it together. So how do you find the right strategy? How do you find the right entry point? How do you find the right risk management for a new market? And then we do have the intraday trade for in the live stream as well, showing us like how do we do the trades during the day. So remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also like our Facebook page and follow us so that you would know when are we going to have the live stream into this. Okay, and of course like this kind of sector outlook. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about this. First thing, we're going to look into the market, look into the chart as well. So fundamental wise, I'm not going to explain much because I think you can see it, you can find a lot on the internet. You can browse it, you can find out, you can read about it. So whatever we share here is not an offer or constitute any offer to buy or sell stocks. So it's just my point of view, looking at telling you what is the current market, what is the price and volume actually reacting in the market. Okay, so you need to do your own study as well. So if let's say you think that is not right, and yeah, don't you have freedom to look into your own. Okay, thank you very much for the like. I'm seeing likes from reaction from YouTube's, Facebook side. Okay, so yeah, okay, let's take a look into it. So semiconductor, why I say that is will be the next coming, but of course not all of it. I see that particular there's a few stocks they have things like this. First of all, you need to understand the price and volume. So price and volume is basically the price and volume reaction, the price movement, everything is everything makes sense. Okay, you need to look into that to understand how the big boys works. Like for example, if maybe I do a little bit of a brief introduction of this price and volume. So let's say, okay, if you see a price down with a high volume, what does it tell you? So most of us, we know that, okay, looking into this is a daily chart. We know that this is there's a lot of selling pressure. Yes, in the daily chart, it shows a lot of selling pressure with the prices going down. Okay, so thank you very much again for another like. Okay, so the price is going down, but in fact, really, is that volume is created by throwing down the price, or the volume is actually created at the bottom of this price down? So that's why we need to look into more details, look into the 5-minute charts and find out more. Okay, for example, here in the daily chart, we find that on 22nd of February, which is this candlestick over here, there's a high volume, and then the next day actually bounced back up. So we're gonna look into it and find out where does this volume actually comes from. So this is price and volume analysis, operator analysis. So when you look into technical analysis, you won't find any of this. They just ask you to look into daily chart and then plot the resistance line or plot the support line. So I find that it's not very it doesn't really work, because if you understand how the big boys work, is that they always push the price up, mark up the price, and then they see retailers in the market, that's where they throw the price down lower to take a partial profit from that. So usually big boys, they'll take partial profit on the way up, while marking up the price. So that's why we see there's a lot of retrace whenever the price is on in the uptrend. So those are the big boys are taking profit. So they won't be taking profit like us, where we just need to set a price at high price, we can sell everything out because we're holding lesser shares. So the big boys wise, they don't do that because they are having a lot of shares in hand, so they can't just sell at one high price. No buyers will be there. So if they throw everything down, then that's it. Okay. So you will fear no buyers will come in. You, me, I, every one of us will not jump into it. Okay. So that's why when you see they will distribute on the way up. So when they are selling, so which means that up to a point they have already sold out. They could have already sold out. Like for example, maybe I show you here. It's just an example. I'm not saying that this stock is having this. Let's say they push up here and then they sell on the way up. So when it reached to the high point, it's actually telling us that the big boys have already sold majority of their shares. So if they have already sold majority of their shares, do you still think that when the price hit back the previous high where the big boys are taking profit is going to tell us that the big boys will come back at this point? Or if you are the big boys, you know that the price is going to go down lower, will you actually wait for it to, you yourself is throwing the price down, will you throw the price down lower, then only you accumulate the shares? Of course, you accumulate at the lower point, right? Because it's lower cost. You use the same amount of funds, you can get more shares. So that's why I don't look into resistance. I don't plot the resistance or the support like the traditional technical analysis, because it doesn't make sense, okay, to me. So that's why I'm not gonna talk about those plotting those line over here. So how do I find that whether the big boys are coming back into the market, and you can call it like a support? We need to look into more details. We can't just look into plotting the support or resistance line. We need to look into the 5-minute charts. Okay, so 22nd of February, this candlestick, we're going to look into it in the 5-minute charts. So I'm going to scroll back to February 22nd. 22nd will be here. Okay, so this day itself, this whole chart over here is the 5-minute charts. So we can see there is a high volume actually comes in, but the high volume are mainly created at the bottom. So we can see that it's not throwing down the volume is not created by throwing down the price, but most of the volume are actually created when they are trying to support the price. Not to say support, but of course, when all this volume comes in, it might have a lot of reason. Okay, so it might be the directors are buying back their shares because they find it as at a low price, so that's why they buy back. And also there might be a reason because someone actually short sell previously, so they buy back their shares right now to cover their short sell position. And yeah, so all these two actually doesn't have any effect on whether the price will move up high, because the directors buy the shares doesn't mean that they will push the price up higher. They just buy the shares because they want to have increase their shareholdings in the company. Okay, maybe because previously they sold it, so right now they have more money, so they can actually buy back to increase the position shareholding in the company. So they can hold for very long. So the directors, if let's say they hold more shares, then if they pay out dividends, then they can get more dividends as well. So there's no obligation for them to actually push up the shares. So how does the share price actually move up higher is, of course, the director themselves, they can't do that. Okay, that is manipulating the market, but the funds can do it. So that's why if let's say you are a person who are looking into something more longer term of investment, even short term as well, or even mid term as well, we need to see those stocks that the directors have the intention to actually give out some of the shares, or provide liquidity in the market to allow the institutional investor to come in to buy. The reason is because if let's say there's not enough of liquidity in the market, then the funds will not come in to buy. Because let's say, for example, you are holding 90% or 80% of the shares of this company. If let's say I am the institutional fund, I want to buy invest into some of your company shares, then where can I get it? I can get it from the market, but once I take everything, basically it's not a public listed company anymore because not enough shares in the market to offer to the public. So the price will not move up higher as well because it's not liquid, because I'm the only one that actually creates the demand at that point. And can I actually buy it from the directors or maybe the owner of the company? Yes, I can. I can talk to them, but most of them, these kind of stocks where they hold majority of the shares, or you can put it in a way like the floating shares is very low. Some usually it's like about 20% is considered actually not very liquid. Usually this kind of directors or maybe the owners, why they are holding majority of their shares in hand is because they don't want to have any hostile takeover. So that's why they take majority of the shares. So your company won't get acquired by other person. So they will not sell the shares to you because they're afraid that if, let's say, they sell the shares to you to the institutional funds, then someone who wants to take over their company, they will actually contact the institutional fund and then ask them to actually sell it to them. Okay, then you will lose out some of the shareholding or the control in the company. Okay, so that's why when you are looking into this, make sure those companies that they have going for long term, they have intention to allow all these institutional funds to come in so that the price can actually move up higher. All right, so come back to this. Okay, so what we have found here is that the price and volume, if let's say at the bottom here, you can see there's a high volume, but the price don't really push down lower. So which means that this is not a selling pressure. There are some demand actually coming in at this point. And then continue on when you see here, there's a high volume comes in again. So the price don't really move down lower at this, in this candlestick, which is in this 5 minutes, this high volume is actually created. These are actually someone actually coming to buy the shares. Okay, so when people are coming in to buy the shares and then the price doesn't really move down lower, so you can't say that, if you look in the daily chart, you can't say that that is a selling pressure. You don't have to feel fear about it because you know that, oh, someone is actually coming in to buy the shares at the bottom. That's why there's a high volume, price don't really goes down lower. So sometimes when I do day trades, when I see this kind of price and volume actually appeared, I will know that the next day the price most likely they will have a small rebound on that day, on one day. I'm not going to say like maybe they will not have much of the short-term rebound or moving up a lot, but on the next day itself they will have a price up. So if like you are doing intraday trades, then that is a good point for you to look into it. Okay, so of course I'm not going to share intraday trade here today. So there's a lot of tape reading, all of it, you need to look into it. Okay, so it's much more basic understanding for you guys. So you understand like all this high volume actually comes in, price don't really goes down lower. So there are demand actually created. So this is what I see in a lot of all these retail, all these semiconductor stocks. Okay, so one of it is this one. So previously the price is down and then high volume comes in, but the price continues goes down lower. But what we see here is that there's another high volume actually comes in and then it stopped the move sideways. And then when it goes down lower, there's another high volume as well. So there are people coming in to accumulate the shares, the big boys. Okay, I checked back the net selling, what you call that, net short selling. Okay, you can find this in Bursa Malaysia. Maybe I'll just share it out. So this is what I get from Bursa Malaysia. How you get the link is, let me find where is my link here. Okay, all right, my link info, yeah, this is the one. So how you get this equities, so you need to go to, say, go to the homepage, Bursa Malaysia, market information, market statistics, securities. Okay, you go to market information and then market statistics, and then securities. Okay, when you click on that, you come to here. So you have all the information over here. You scroll all the way down, you'll find that total short selling here. Okay, so you can click this. This will be updated every day. So if let's say you are entering into any of the stocks or you hear and see someone recommend it to you, some of the shares, if you are worried that whether they can actually whether you were buying at the high side or the people are increasing, because if let's say institutional fund, they are increasing their net short selling position in that particular stock, basically they foresee that the price is going to go down lower. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, for stock wise is maximum is only 4%, I think. Yeah, you guys need to check on that again. Okay, I'm not sure, but there is a limit of net short selling position. So that's why it's different from the US market. That's why last time when I see the trade in what do you call that, the Wall Street bet, you know, people are in US market, they are pushing up the price by the retail investors. Then Malaysian investor trying to copy that into Malaysian market. I find that is horrible. Okay, it doesn't make sense because it's a different market, different regulation, so you can't do the same thing in here. Okay, so you can see all the net short selling position here, so you can check when you enter into a stocks whether it's at a high short selling position or not. If let's say there's high, then yeah, then you have to be careful of it. All right, so you have to take note of all this data, see whether the net short selling position, whether is included, whether it's regulated short selling, or maybe the PSS. PSS is the market participant, like let's say those who are doing ETF or structured warrant, so they need to hedge their funds, hedge their structured warrant, their product, so they need to do some short selling on the other side. Okay, so that one wise doesn't really affect a lot in the stock itself, the mother shares itself. Okay, so I've looked into it, so it seems like all this doesn't really have a lot of net short selling position, so which means that there's not many people are short selling these stocks, and we find that the price, there are people coming in, so it doesn't mean accumulation, the big boys accumulation doesn't mean that you can move in right now. Okay, the reason is because big boys, when they accumulate their shares, they can accumulate sometimes like up to 1 year. So, and they can even wait until the price goes down lower and then do the accumulation again, because they are big funds, they just move in bit by bit. So that's how they do it. So you don't want, we as a retail investor, we don't want to move in when they are doing accumulation. I know there's a lot of people in the market sharing or providing some of the talk saying that, okay, you need to know where is the big boys accumulation and all this stuff. I find it you don't have to know their costs, okay, their cost price, because that is not what we want. We want to know when is the time to enter, when they want to push the price up higher. So when the price is going to push it up higher is the most important question that we need to know. We need to answer that, because accumulation wise, the average price, they can drag up a lot. So you can't chase after their accumulation. There's no point for that. We want them to actually push up the price so that we can ride along with them. Okay, so we need to know when are they going to do that. So usually what they will do is that right after the accumulation that they have done, they will go through a quiet period, okay, a cool down period here, and then you can see the price is starting to move up higher with the high volume. Okay, then we know that the stock price is going to, the big boys are ready to push the price higher. All right, but of course when they're moving up, we don't chase the high. Usually after one time when they push the price up higher, they will have a price retrace. The price retrace is where we need to start to look into it. Okay, for example, AirAsia, before it comes down lower, they have this kind of price movement here. So this is the price down. This is where all the price down here with high volume actually show up. Price at the bottom, high volume show up. Okay, and then here again, price at the bottom, there's a high volume actually start to cause a rebound. Then later on, you can start to see again there's a high volume here, again there's a high volume here, and then there's a cool down period at this point. So what we want to see here is that there is a high volume with the price push up, and then you wait for the retrace, and then high volume again, price push up. That is the time where we can start to look into it. Okay, so the difference is that when they are doing accumulation, the volume, high volume part is where the price is at the bottom. Okay, but when they are ready, the high volume part will be the price pushing up. So that actually tells us they are ready to mark up the price. They are ready to move up the price. That's where we can actually start to move in right along with their shares. Okay, so you can see from here, when they are ready, the price start to move up higher again. So this is how you can go for midterm. So this one actually lasts for, I think, about 2 quarters. Okay, so from here, then we need to look into the exit rules. So exit rules, usually what I do here is that when you see that the volume is moving at the high side, it's not as high as the previous round, previous price up, then we know that it's done. Okay, so because like I say, the big boys, what they will do is they will distribute on the way up. So when you reach to a higher point, let's say they distribute on the way up, they will distribute majority of the shares on the way up. So let's say 80%. So 80% when they are pushing up the price, when they are selling at the same time, you create a huge volume. Let's say 1 million of shares, they are selling 800,000 of shares on the way up. So each time when they are selling, let's say they're selling like maybe 4 times, so each time they are selling 200,000. So 200,000 in the market. But when you reach to a higher point where they left maybe 20%, let's say they do again, like they take profit. Each time they take profit, they are selling 4 times. Okay, 4 times of that is only 50,000. So 50,000 traded in the market. So that's why the volume is lower. So that's why when you start to see the high volume, sorry, the high price, the volume is not higher than the previous one. So we know that that's it. They have not much shares in hand right now. So it's time to get out. Okay, so big boys are getting out, so you have to get out. So you can see, even though the price actually goes down lower and then move back up higher again, but you can see right now it's back to about like 60 over cents. Okay, so this is what we are looking at it. So this is one of the example. So you can go for midterm. So like I say, if let's say you are going for a sector rally, so sector rally usually would just be a midterm swing. So you don't see it like the price I keep on moving up higher and higher. Our market is, even though in US market, like you see Apple and Tesla, why the price I keep on moving up higher and higher is because they have a lot of funds there and a lot of institutional investors are moving in. Apple is because they are keep on buying back their shares, so that the value per share is actually increasing every time. It's because lesser shares in the market. So that's why the market is big. For here wise, we always see those stock price, they move up. Let's say really star stocks, they move up 1 year and then that's it, it goes up. Like even last time when we look into the glove market, glove stocks, is up a lot, right? So but a lot of people are still talking about, whoa, the revenue is good, fundamental is good, so it will move up higher and things like that. And then you can start to know, like a lot of people, yeah, the easiest way is if during the sector run, if you start to hear anybody else or a lot of people are talking about this kind of stocks, that sector or that stocks, in maybe some of the cafes or maybe in some of the mama kopitiam, then you know that is the time that you have to get out. Okay, that is exactly what I heard when the glove sectors actually run. I hear like the auntie who is selling economic rice asking whether this is a good stocks, and then I hear not the glove market but another one last time, I think a few years back, when the price actually moved up higher, one of the stocks, oil and gas stocks. So I hear that this uncle is actually, I think, the manager of the company. So he's telling the team, okay, buy a bit of these shares, okay, they are very cash rich and things like that, so long term wise they'll move up higher. But right after he said that, the price actually goes down lower and lower and lower. Okay, so it's a trend thing, because all these funds, we have to accept one thing, is that all these funds will move in and out. okay, because they want to make profit. So it's not like US market, unfortunately, Malaysia side. But of course, Malaysia wise, we have some of the stock that keep on moving up higher and higher. But it's just like what I say, those are the stock that the company owner or maybe the director, they have intention to actually increase their valuation of their stock price so that they can do a lot of things, like for example to prevent hostile takeover, or to actually use the share value to actually acquire other company, other businesses, to actually increase their business, okay, expand their business. So doing the share swap, let's say for example you have a shares of maybe 5 ringgit, my company only worth like maybe 1 ringgit, so you might say like, okay, I'm going to use one of my share to swap with 5 of your shares, so you can actually take over my company, right? So this is how the if let's those are the really companies that you can actually look into it for a long term, okay, that they will actually move up higher, right? So it's not so much about like whether the fundamental is good or not. But of course, usually this kind of stock, the fundamental usually will be good. But we do see a lot like some of the good fundamental companies where the news, the trends, everyone is talking about it, and then they are so happy, blasting the market, social media, or your Telegram talking about these stocks. Then at the end of the day, the price will goes down lower. Okay, so yeah, that's why I don't read news, or I don't believe in one thing where the rumors, all this. Okay, so this is the example, but what I see in the market right now is there's a lot of other stocks that show this. Let me find where is it. There's too many stocks that open. Okay, another one is this one. This is a 5-minute charts. If you look into daily chart, we can find that high volume is at the bottom. High volume is at the bottom. So these are actually telling us that there's someone actually coming into these stocks. So right now the price are moving up slightly higher. So we do see as well the price is actually move up. But we need to know one thing is that usually they will go through a cool down period. So right now there's no cool down period yet. So cool down period can go up to like maybe 2 months or maybe 3 months time. So we have to wait. Okay, you just wait, look for it. The retrace will be coming in. All right. So this is one of it. You might see like, okay, previously I've already moved up a lot. So why would they do it again? Okay, so I find that in the stock market is always the big boys move in first, then only the news actually comes out, then only the analysts actually to find out why the price actually move up higher. Then they will talk about like, oh, the next one because the shortage of supply in this sector, so that's why the price are moving up higher and things like that. Okay, so something that you can put into your watch list and watch. Okay, so right now it's not the right time yet, so just wait. They might continue to accumulate more, let the price goes down a little bit more. Okay, so we can see that this kind of price movement is usually telling us that the price will not will be going into a retrace. Okay, so watch it and learn from here. Okay, so this is one of it. Basically I see the one I see is only like 3 of it. This one, not this one, this one, yeah, okay, this one also. So these are the things that you need to see. All right, high volume, price at the bottom of the high volume. If you look into the 5-minute charts, you will see that this volume created is because all this volume are actually created at the bottom. During the day, the price is down, and then volume is actually created at the bottom. It's not because the price is throwing down with the high volume. If let's say you look into a 5-minute charts, when the price actually throw down with the high volume, that actually take up the almost majority of the volume of that day, then we know that the selling pressure is still there. Okay, so there won't be any short-term rebound after that. Okay, so you can see high volume here, short-term rebound, high volume here, short-term rebound. Okay, same thing is not ready yet. We just need to wait. Okay, wait for the right timing, the cool down period, it goes on. Then we will see this. Okay, we will see this. This might be the one of it. So this is how you can find whether the next sector actually starts to run. Okay, so what you can do is that you can look into each of the sectors and look at all these stocks, whether they have this kind of price action actually show up. Okay, but of course you need to be aware of whether this is a short selling cover up and things like that. So you need to check the net short selling value. Okay, so other than these sectors, right now I don't find it any other of it, which is a good thing, because when looking at this, seems like majority of the big boys that they are this institutional fund, they are moving their shares from moving their funds into just focusing on this. So there might be a very huge rally run from it. Okay, based on my understanding here. Okay, so this is how you look into it, and yep, that's what I want to share it here today. Okay, so if you have any question, you can actually write it down in the comment box, then we'll go through it. Okay, so let's wait for it. Thank you very much for the likes and the reactions. All right, thank you for watching our live stream as well. Okay. So remember to give us a like and share this out to more of your friends. Okay, so semiconductor is one of it, but overall right now the market, since we are having this live stream, usually I'll do a weekly market point of view with my clients. So that one is only for my clients itself. The market right now seems we see a lot of stocks are moving up, but there might be next few weeks the price will have a retrace. So when the price is starting to have a retrace, so don't feel panic about it. Okay, so just to let you know first, because right now a lot of stocks are moving up, so they have already attracted buyers. Those who want to attract buyers, they have already attracted buyers by pushing up the price, because retail investor is always late into the market. Because retail investor, what they do is that they always like to wait for the price to move up first, and then they wait for the price to move up first, then only they have confidence. Because why retail investor is always late and always wait for this kind of price movement to move up first, then only they have the confidence, is because when the price is moving up, then the news will talk about it, that will cover this kind of price movement, then the retail investor will only see it. And usually these kind of stocks, when it move up higher, is usually is gonna appear in the top active list, top gainers, or all these lists. So I don't really like to look into all these kind of lists, because I find it is one of the way for the big boys to attract the buyers to come in, the retail investor to come in, because when it appeared there top active list, retail investor would think that this is a stock where a lot of people going in, which is not. Okay, so like for some of the smaller shares, some of the smaller big boys, what they'll do is that they'll do the market making where the left hand change to right hand, the share sell to left hand sell it back to the right hand sell it back to the left hand. So we call it changing hand. That will actually create the volume, that will create the active. Okay, and that will also actually push up the price. So that's why, if let's say you are using this to find the right stocks, then you will have very high chances to actually get trapped at the high side. So that's why be very careful when you look into this kind of lists. All right, but overall the market, yes, there might be a price retrace coming in, or a correction in the market. Even though right now the price are moving up a lot, you can see a lot of gainers in the market, but seems like it's going to have a peak there. So when this but overall what we see here is that even smaller stock, mid cap stocks, the smaller big boys, mid big boys, or maybe the XL big boys, extra large big boys, they are actually moving back into the market. So looking at all this transaction data and the price, actually the price and volume that I showed you just now, so it seems like the market is not that bad, just that you need to find the right stocks. Okay, finding the right stock is always the questions that a lot of traders or retail investor ask. But as long as you know how does the big boys work, how does the operation works, how to see the big boys transactions, okay, then it's basically very easy for you to find the right stocks in the stock market. Okay, so you need to learn how to do that. But if let's say you want to find out more, you can actually look into our next intake of operator analysis training course. It will be a 6-month course, so it's not the 6 month every week of the class. We're going to talk about different things. We're going to use the live market charts to actually share to you guys live market example that or the updated, the most current example that we share to you. This is the accumulation. This is how the big boys accumulation. So this is how they are ready to push the price up higher, because the big boys, when they have the accumulation, for big cap stocks will be different, for small cap will be different as well, for mid cap will be different as well, because the bigger cap one is usually those big boys that they like institutional fund. Let's say the smaller one will be the smaller big boys. Okay, so you can see, if let's say they usually the smaller big boys, what they do is that they'll do the accumulation here, and then they're going to push up the price. So you can see here, this is the 30.5 cents. I think this is where the RNS portfolio entry is, and then are able to exit. The price actually move up to about like 50 over cents, but we move up at about like 48 cents. So that's like 18 cents of profit. So 50 over 60, close to 60% from here. Okay, so if you know how to look into this, you can find like many stocks that they have accumulation. They always have accumulation and then push the price up higher. So here from like 50 over cents up to about 1 ringgit plus. So it's actually very easy. The simple, I wouldn't say easy, but it's simple for you to find the right stocks. Which are the stocks that the big boys will have this kind of, I just open this again, right? This kind of stocks that they have moving house. So these are the list of stock that previously they have the moving house. So you can see from here, this one, the moving house is slightly longer. So it took about like 1 year for, sorry, moving house means that the accumulation. That's what I always say, because why I call it moving house is because the big boys always move from one person, one entity to a few entities. So they keep on moving. So after few months, they move one time. After a few months, they move one time. So it's like moving house, okay? So you need to go take a lot of round to move your house. Then wait for the housewarming. So housewarming means that they are ready. They have already done their moving house. They have done their, oh, sorry, I didn't share the charts, right? So this is the charts over here. They have moving house. So you can see like the housewarming is here. They're ready to do a housewarming, to have a party, invite everyone in. So that's where we actually start to move in. So you can see it here from 16 over cents, move up to 80 over cents. Okay, so this is one of it. And like this one here, just now I share, but I forgot to share my screen. Sorry about it. I'm still a very beginner in doing live stream, so please forgive me. All right, so you can see here accumulation 30 over cents, move up to 50 over cents, 50 over cents. So that's about like 60 over percent over here, and this is like a few months, so it's a midterm trade. And then this one here, just now I show as well. So accumulation, let's say the housewarming 60 over cents, move up to about 1 ringgit plus, so more than 100% here. So it's not that difficult for us to look in to find the right stocks. It's just that whether we know how to find it or not. Okay, so this is there's a lot of small accumulation here. Okay, accumulation, and then housewarming 20 over cents up to 40 over cents. So you just need to know how do they do the accumulation. Okay, so all this will be shared to you in our training course, from the accumulation up until when are they ready to push the price up higher, and then when is the housewarming. So when is the best time for you to move in, and when is the best time to actually exit near the peak. All right, so this is what I meant, where they will, after accumulation, they will distribute on the way up. Okay, so every time they sell, it will create a retrace. Every time they take profit, they will create a retrace until a point where they have not much of shares in hand. So you see that the price keep on moving up higher and higher and higher. It doesn't have any retrace. Why? Because they have lesser shares in hand right now. So when they throw out the shares, it doesn't create the retrace. Okay, so that is the reason how you can actually exit very near to the high side. It's much better than you setting a profit target. Why? Because when you set a profit target, it's your expectation. So we don't put our own expectation into market because we don't control the price. So when you put your own expectation in the market, is basically you are betting on it. You are gambling that you gamble on this trade whether the price will actually hit the profit target. And if let's say it haven't hit the profit target, there's a retrace. Every time there's a retrace, you start to feel worried, you start to feel not sure what happening, and then you will start to panic whether to take the profit or not. If you don't take the profit, you might worried that the price goes down lower and then your profit is all gone. Okay, so that's the thing here, where we don't set a profit. We don't have a profit. Usually our trading course, we don't have a profit target. We just follow our exit rules. The exit rules is based on the big boys intention, whether they have the intention to have distributed majority of their share and distributing the remaining shares. So looking at the price and volume action there, then we know that, okay, they have lesser shares in hand. So right now they are going to throw out. So we're going to exit. So we can exit very near to the high side. Okay, so one of it. Then you can see all these stocks over here are the stocks that they have previously have a moving house and then they push the price up higher. So some, you can see some can actually move up like 300%, some can actually move up like 100%, some can actually move up like 50, 60 over percent. So that's why we don't set the profit target, because different stocks, different big boys, they will have different price of moving up higher. Okay, so that's why that's why I don't agree on setting profit target. Okay, but of course cut loss, we do have a cut loss point, but depends on different stocks. The rules, why we call it the exit rules, why we call it the cut loss rules, is because when you apply the rules, means that in different stocks you will have different cut loss point and also different exit point, okay, or take profit point, or different entry point as well. So if you set the target using the measurement of the price fluctuation before, and then measure whether the price will actually move back up to that point, that is not going to make sense. Why? Because I already shared to you, big boys distribute on the way up. So you can't say like this is where they accumulate and then they will at least push back up to this level, because this point here, when they're moving sideways, is where they are distributing their shares. So when they're distributing their shares, do you think that the price will actually move up higher again? No, right? Okay. Of course, I met some of the viewers, they will say like, no, sometimes the other funds actually come in to accumulate the shares and things like that. Yes and no, because yes, to some of the bigger cap stocks, or some of the stocks that I say that they will have the intention to let all these funds actually comes in to increase their valuation, yes, that will actually happen. Okay, but for some of the smaller cap and mid cap stocks, you can't do that. Okay, because big boys, there's only one inside there to operate the whole thing. Once it's done, and then they throw it down lower. Okay, so you can see from the example I showed it to you, they won't go all the way up. They always like, once they sell everything, then the price goes down lower. Okay, a lot of retail investors, when they get trapped at the high side, usually high side is where the marketing actually comes in, where the analysts or maybe the reports or maybe some of the telegram will be sharing out or look into these stocks and stuff like that. Then you get trapped at the high side. Then when it starts to go down lower, you're not sure what's happening. There's a good news. The good news just released. The quarterly report seems good, but why is the price still going down lower? Okay, so everyone's saying that this fundamental is good, why the price is still going down lower? So you know it. Okay, we all know it, right? So that's part of the reason. All right, so I don't see any comments coming in or questions coming in, so I guess that's it here for my sharing. So if any one of you want to find out more about how the big boys actually do their accumulation, and you want to fine tune or have learned something more advanced, something that not everyone in the market or retail investor, not everyone, you're not reading the same textbook as everyone in the market, then look into our operator analysis training. So you'll find out more about it. Okay, so you can find the link in the description, I think. Yeah, so if no, then please comment PM in this session, okay, then we'll PM you. That one for Facebook. If let's say you are from YouTube side, so you can go to our Facebook page and then do a PM, personal messages, all right? Then we'll share with you the information. Okay, so remember, like us, like our Facebook page, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel to find out more about our upcoming live stream. On Tuesday, we will be having a US market live stream session for intraday trade. We will be at 10:30 p.m. and then Thursday we will have it in the morning at 8:40 a.m. for Malaysia market. Okay, so yes, I mean, maybe some of you would think like, well, Kelvin, you don't have to sleep, is it? Did I intro myself just now? I think I didn't intro, right? Hi everyone, I'm Kelvin. Okay, so yeah, so where was I just now? Yeah, so I do sleep. Okay, so US market just maximum I just go up until 12 o'clock, so then I'll just close stop thing, because when you're doing trading you get sometimes you get adrenaline. Okay, so that's why it's very difficult for you to sleep, and I don't want to have a sleepless night, so that's why I don't want to have any open position during that day. But in the live stream, I'm sharing you the paper trade first, because I want you guys to practice it, so get the touch of the whole trading plan. Okay, how do you trade? Okay, the feeling of the feeling of moving in and out. Then only we look into the funds. Okay, with real funds wise, then is a different thing. That will be more on the on the what you call that, the what you call that, the emotional part, which is the most challenging things that we have to overcome. But even though it's the most challenging, I can make it less challenging for you. Okay, just simply by doing a few steps. Okay, that will actually share in the training course. Okay, I have a comment in. Could you share a counter which currently in housewarming? Actually, I'm not allowed to share stocks in the public, right? Okay, so if you want to find out more, you can actually open a trading account with me. Then I can actually advise, give you some sharing on that. Okay, so if you want to open a trading account, same thing, send us a message or maybe comment a PM at the comment section. Okay, all right, and that's about it. Any more questions? Let's see. Okay, let's see. All right, I'm sorry about it. So just that I'm more of I want to share with you guys like how you can avoid, and also how you can actually analyze the stock market, so that you know how to find the right stocks in the stock market. Okay, instead of like always getting trapped in the stocks. Okay, that's because I can't share the housewarming here. The reason is because even though I share with you the housewarming, you might not know how to look into it. The reason is because if I show you one, like those previously they have done the housewarming, you won't be ready to move in. You will start to question me, because usually when they are doing housewarming, wait, let me share my screen first. This is the price movement. So you might say like, Kelvin, is not liquid here, right? So you sure about this? Okay, sometimes yes, I'm sure, because I know how the big boys actually works, because I spend lots of hours to look into how this moving house is. Okay, just drop us a PM if you want to know that. All right, and yep, that will be the sharing here. Thank you very much for joining, and I hope to see you again in the next session. If let's say you have any topics you would like us to cover it, to explain it to you, leave a comment in the comment section, and then we'll look into it, and we try to create another live stream to share more about this kind of sharing with you. Like for example, like structured warrant, how do they count the cash value, or maybe the short selling, what are the differences, okay, what are the regulation about that. yeah, you can share that to you. Okay, or you want to hear some of those big boy stories that I heard from. So is when you hear about this kind of story, you feel like, wow, stock market is really interesting. Okay, all right. Thank you very much for joining. I will see you guys again next week, or I'll see you on Tuesday for our next live stream section. Thank you. Bye bye.